I can hear you.
Yeah, yes, hello. We can go earlier if you want. I was just getting it set up.
Yeah, no, I just had the notification, the email. So I was like, whoa.
I sent it out prematurely. What am I saying? All right, Discord. I was just about to send you a message. I got a new theme song for tonight.
You got a new theme song?
It's great. You'll love it. And I got us a news theme as well.
Got the news theme going on. We got everything going on. Is that why you're asking in the chat what's good for royalty-free music?
Possibly. Yes. I got some good stuff.
Nice.
There it is. We talk film.
We talk film. Blah 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 blah.
Have you got your list of 10 films that inspired you?
I do have my list of 10 films.
Oh, I'm excited.
I wish it could have been more, but it's not.
Oh, tell me about it. I had about 400 that I wanted. Flip that so that I can see you properly.
And I think you're going to be surprised by one movie that's actually not on my list.
What? You don't have 1917?
Shocker.
Yeah, I figured. No, I put some lesser known ones. Kind of just things that I go by. You'll like it.
Nice.
Try not to include too many we've talked about before.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy with mine.
Oy.
I'm happy with mine. It's good.
Yeah, I'm happy too.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the new intro?
Yes, I would love to hear the new intro. I can get behind that. I like it.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh hell yeah!
It comes in quicker than the other one, and then hang on, we got the news one. Whoa!
Oh man, I'm loving it. It's great.
And that one ends on its own. It's great.
Nice.
There we go. Okay. All right, I got a list of 10, and I've got a bunch of news.
Whoa.
Films. So, what's the plan tonight?
So yeah, I suppose the plan is see what happens, and so we'll obviously just set it up as normally, introduce it all. We'll do the news segment because that's the first thing we do now.
News first, yep.
News first, and then we'll talk about why we're here. Why are we doing the podcast? Who are we? Who is We Talk Film?
We Talk Us.
We Talk Us.
I'm going to title the episode We Talk Us.
And then, obviously we can talk about our top 10 inspired, whatever you want to call that list of films. And then just,
films that inspire us.
Films that we enjoy. Films that interchanging. That this list is always interchanging.
Films that we talk about. Yeah.
Films that we love to talk about. Yeah.
I'm surprised about how many newer films are on my list too. Quite a few of them are like 2010 upwards.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Including my number one. My number one's from 2016, so wacky.
I've got a few that are oh no, only two. That's recent. Oh no, that's pretty old now.
My oldest film on the list is from 1979. And my newest is from 2016.
Oh, my oldest is from 1977.
Oh, he's beating me with Star Wars.
Oh. And I think my newest is 2019.
It's Joker.
I don't know. I didn't really go for dates.
I wrote down the year of everyone, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It don't matter too much.
It don't matter too much.
Should we just go for it?
We should just go for it, man. Let's just get in. Let's just get into it.
All right, I'm gonna start recording.
All right.
I'm gonna hit the intro button.
Hit that intro button.
You'll take it away. All right, we ready?
Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I am your host, Barry, joined as always by Clayton. And today we're doing something different. What are we doing today, Clayton?
Oh, well, today, it's a special episode, Barry. Today, instead of We Talk Film, this is We Talk Us. We're gonna delve in. We're gonna delve into the films that inspire us, the films that led us to do what we're doing today, and we're gonna talk about what exactly that is that we're doing today. But before we get into that, Barry, do you know what time it is? Barry?
Oh, I know what time it is.
Oh, I think it's news time, Barry.
It's news time. New sound effects. We're professional podcasters
We've got
now.
A bunch of new buttons. Well, weekly news. Welcome back. We Talk News now. Well, on this week of We Talk News, the first story, Barry, Tarantino's last film, The Movie Critic. Have you heard that he's working on this? It's just gone into pre-production.
Oh, he has gone into production. Nice. Yeah, can I be in it?
Just kicked it off. Apparently he's looking for someone in his mid-30s.
I can do
play
that.
The role of a movie critic. You could do that. Yeah, so other than that, not much news about it. He seems to be keeping pretty secret, but he's actively working on it. So we'll see how that goes, because I'm excited. Anything Tarantino sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Yeah, what more does that?
And plus it's his final film as well, which I'm kind of saddened by.
Yeah, so hopefully he goes all out and it's really good, because otherwise, if it's his last film and it sucks, he's going to have to do another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Our second story for the week. This is trailer news. It's not a new trailer, it is a new trailer, but it's for something that we've seen before. The Barbie movie got a new trailer.
Yes, I have seen the new Barbie trailer.
On more of the story aspects and how Barbie ends up in the real world with Ryan Gosling.
And Will Ferrell's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Dun, dun,
the more I see of this movie, the more I have no idea what the hell this is. I don't know, man.
It's my film with you already.
It might be up there in my anticipated films, because I have no idea what the hell this is.
It's such a whack movie. It looks so great. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, all right. Oh, news coming out of Netflix. Did you know they've appointed Arnold Schwarzenegger as the chief action officer for Netflix?
I did hear something about that. So what does that actually entail? He's just going to be there around for any of the action stuff, or?
I think he's just overseeing anything that they do that's action orientated.
Okay.
I have no idea. I think they made that up just so they could hire Arnie, but
it's such a stupid title. I'm sorry.
Chief action officer. It sounds like something out of like Time Cop. It's like he's the chief action officer.
He's the chief action officer. Look at him.
I don't know. Hopefully it means Netflix make better movies. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
What else we got? Oh, yeah. This one is probably going to surprise you. The Minecraft movie, which was announced to be in the works last year, has starring Jason Momoa, has now added Matt Berry, the comedian and actor, to star alongside him. Oh,
my father is joining the movie. Yep.
Yeah, it's set to be helmed by Jared Hess, who you might know from the guy who did Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, I'm very surprised that he's actually doing this film, because it's been a while since Napoleon Dynamite.
Details.
Yeah,
and no other details. I have no idea if it's going to be animated or live action or whatever the hell this is. But
I mean, you would think it's going to be live action because you got Jason Momoa, but it could just be voicing it.
I'd think so, because a live action Minecraft movie would not work. That'd be so stupid.
Stop punching trees.
A live action Lego movie. That would just be weird. Yes.
I mean, there was live action stuff in the Lego movie, so you know.
Yeah, but that worked well. That fit the thing. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, final story for this week's weekly news. Not much news this week. It's been a slow week in the film industry.
Disappointing.
Yeah, well, this one isn't disappointing. Deadpool 3 has started filming.
Yes, it has, and I've been so excited about it because I got a notification the other day. It just popped up. It's like, we have started production. I was like, yes, you have. Yeah. Good. It's actually happening. And I'm very surprised that they actually have gone into production about it because of the whole strikes going on at the moment with the writers and potentially upcoming actors strikes. coming soon.
Yeah. Well, that's the next part of the story.
Yeah.
Is Ryan Reynolds is forbidden from improvising any lines in Deadpool 3 due to the writer's strike. If he changes any lines, he could be facing being dropped from the Writers Guild, being ostracized from Hollywood. Even if he says like one word that isn't in the script, that counts as changing the script during the writers' strike, and it's big news because we're gonna see how well this script is written.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna be. You can't rely on him. Yeah.
Because that's the thing. The first two films relied on a lot of improv stuff, especially for the jokes, what felt good on the day and everything like that. So that's going to be very interesting indeed when Deadpool 3 finally gets released next year.
I'm going to see how that goes. I mean, they could always just do reshoots for jokes.
Oh, yeah. They can ad-lib it or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that concludes Newsweek for this week.
Oh, Newsweek! Newsweek! Yeah, pretty good Newsweek. Gotta have Newsweek every single week. So
yeah, I'd hope so.
Hope so.
If there's news.
If there's news.
I hope there's news every week. It'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Give us another segment to do. Extend this out. It means we have to talk less.
We have to talk less about stuff and things and everything like
that. Speaking of talking about stuff, I think it's time for We Talk Us.
It's We Talk Us today. So we weren't really prepared for this week's episode of the podcast, as you can tell by what's going to happen in today's podcast. We're always prepared, definitely prepared. Obviously, there are films out at the moment that we kind of just don't want to go and see at all and don't want to talk about. Fast and Furious. So I thought it would be a good idea, since we're in the double digits now for the podcast, and this is going to be episode 13. Yes, that we should actually finally discuss about who you and I are, what we do, how we met, and the reason why we're talking about We Talk Film. We Talk Film. We Talk Films on We Talk Film. What? Where?
Wait, we're doing a podcast?
We're doing a podcast? Who's going to play me? If you don't get that reference, go and watch last week's podcast. We've talked about the Muppets Mayhem. It was still a great show, and I went to go back and watch episodes of it, and it's still amazing.
So, We Talk Us.
We Talk Us is going to be the title of this week's podcast, because we're going to talk about us, how Clayton and I met, which wasn't that too long ago in the grand scheme of things.
No. Why don't you take it away, Barry? Tell the story. We're gonna flashback.
So, a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
About 4 months ago in Northbridge.
Yeah. So 4 months ago in Northbridge, Clayton and I basically have started studying for a diploma of screenwriting and media at the North Metropolitan TAFE in Perth, WA. That's where we are. And yeah, that's how you and I met. I'm pretty sure, we met day one there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Like most people. And then we obviously.
Our first interaction, but we met.
No. It was probably something relating to films anyway, because the course of it all. Probably. I think it was something related to what's your favorite film and stuff like that. And then you obviously had your Pulp Fiction shirt on.
I did. I remember we got stuck with Ben talking about Star Wars. I remember that was
that was quite a detailed thing, which is still quite a detailed thing. Anytime we discuss Star Wars, it just goes forever.
Look at us. We still discuss Star Wars.
We still discuss Star Wars, but now we do it as a podcast.
Yeah.
And so obviously, Clayton and I are studying, or still currently studying, for a diploma of screen and media. We are currently students doing that. And so 13 weeks ago now, you had the grand idea of like, hey, who wants to do a podcast? And then I was the idiot that was just like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll help.
You fool. You agreed to it.
Yeah, I agreed to it. Well, I did come up with the name after also.
True. You came up with the name and you regret it every week since.
I do.
No. Well, today we're not We Talk Film, we're We Talk Us, Barry.
We Talk
Us.
This
comes from the heart.
It comes from the heart. Well, that's the thing. For going for 13 weeks now and doing a podcast with you, it's been pretty great 13 weeks, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like actually doing this consistently has been good.
It's been fun. And we've had some great movies come out in those 13 weeks.
Oh, yes.
We haven't had any bad movies. It's been great. Yeah, or at least none we haven't seen. Cough, Fast and Furious cough. But like,
and obviously, yeah, that's going to change in the
it
upcoming
has been
weeks
fun.
because there are better films coming out starting this week as well. But that's obviously future podcast environments and everything like that. So yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea because since we are students that are currently studying to make film and all that type of stuff and TV shows, whatever we want to do in the future and stuff like that, what actually inspired us to get into this industry? Why are we here? Why are we talking about film?
Why are we talk film?
Why are we talk film? So I gave Clayton one of the most impossible lists you could ever write up for a person that is a film enthusiast. So basically what Clayton and I have written up for today's episode is kind of like a top 10 list of our most like influential / inspiring films to us as filmmakers, well, up and coming filmmakers, that made us want to do this type of thing, that made us want to go and learn how to do all this, that made us want to do a podcast talking about film and all the fun stuff. So without further ado, I think I'll let you go first, Clayton, with your list, because I've been talking quite a bit about everything. And yeah, we can just slowly discuss each film and we can go from there, man.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, you asked me to come up with this list like an hour and a half ago?
Yeah, it wasn't too much time beforehand.
I was like, here, come up with the hardest list you could ever think of in an hour before the podcast. I'm like, Barry, you're insane.
I am insane. That's why people love me.
Oh, man. It makes for good entertainment. That's
it sure does.
All right, well, I put them in somewhat of an order. The list could probably be rearranged. Apart from my number one, that's set in stone.
Okay, so let's start from number 10 and let's work our way down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way. So I'm going to kick off number 10 with a film from 2009, a film that's heavily inspired some of the short films that I've made during my TAFE course. It's called District 9.
Ah, yes, by Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah.
That is a very phenomenal film. I love that film.
So it's up there with the films when you watch it, you think you're going into something and it's completely different than what you expect it to be.
Oh, yeah.
And the longer it goes on, the more addicted to it you get. And you can't predict what's going to happen next. It's really well done. It's just such an entertaining, unique film.
It is. And like I watched it probably a month ago or something like that because I just love Neil Blomkamp's work. Like even though Chappie and Elysium get kind of downvoted a bit, I still love him quite a bit, like what he creates and everything like that. But yeah, District 9 is still definitely the best one that he's done. But just that whole world and what he thought of and everything like that is just like, that is such a creative like sci-fi theme that he's done that I still haven't seen that's been replicated in that way. Like he has his own very unique way of how he did that film. And it's still, that's the thing. It still holds up to like today's standard. And that's the thing, 2009? Like, damn, I remember seeing that at cinemas.
Oh, wow. No, it was one of the first films that I owned on DVD.
Nice.
It was pretty crazy. So I picked it up. I'm like, this is awesome. It's a crazy movie. And he's working on District 10. It's very slowly production, apparently.
Okay.
But it might be stuck in a little bit of production hell. But yeah, apparently it's being worked on. So hopefully he can recapture the magic of the first one in that.
Yeah, it would be nice to see a continuation of that because that's the thing. They did like kind of lead off at the end of the film where he was like became the full like creature alien thing.
Prawn,
the prawn, that's right. That's what they call them. So like they could.
That's so funny.
They could.
They could.
I would like to see more of that world anyway that he has created. So I'm really fingers crossed that we do see something out of that.
Like I said, very, very unique, very just different movie. I don't think there's anything like it. And that's why I rate it so highly. That's why it's on my top 10 list. It's like, dude made something new and it was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And all right, shall I go to my number 9?
Let's go to number 9, man.
All right. Well, going back in time to 1991. Barry remembers it well.
I do remember this year well. Back in my day.
Yes. See, these two fellas got together and made a film. I don't know if you've heard of them. One of them was named Joel. The other was named Ethan. I think they were brothers or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, they made a film called Barton Fink.
Aha. I have not
you
seen
this,
it. I've heard of it. I have watched clips of it, but I have never actually had time to fully watch it yet.
Oh boy, this film got me into writing, man. This film made me want to write movies because it's about a Hollywood writer who's trying to make a movie, and he's trying to write a movie, and he moves into this apartment next door to John Goodman, and there's a whole bunch of wacky shit that happens.
Yep.
But it was so entertaining. I loved it.
Nice, nice.
Really well done. It's probably my second favorite Coen Brothers film, and it's one that doesn't get brought up. Ever.
Yeah. No, you don't hear it too often about that film. No. Well, what's your first favorite Coen Brothers film? Was that on the list?
Well, that's coming up.
Oh, okay, that's coming up. Okay, I'll leave it. But like, what makes this film, like, for you anyway, besides the writing, just like so unique to it? Is it just the writing style to it, or was it just the story to it?
Yeah, the whole movie itself felt really just different. You get hooked into this world. It's very uncanny in the way that it presents everything. It's kind of like you're seeing everything from the writer's perspective. Everything's kind of wacky. I'd compare it a little bit to the Nicolas Cage film adaptation. A little bit. It's like if you took the writing side of that a little bit more rather than the whole wacky back and forth stuff, but just followed the writer. And it was such a really great movie. The performances in it are awesome. John Goodman, this is probably my favorite role of his. He plays the neighbor in it.
Yeah, okay.
The neighbor. And what happens with his character, I don't want to spoil it. It's crazy. It's like probably one of my favorite twists in any Coen Brothers film is what happens to John Goodman's character. So I highly recommend you watch this movie because it's
I'm
really
definitely going
to
have to now since it's on your top 10 list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've heard about it before, and I've heard like mixed reviews on it for like since it's been out and stuff like that from different people. Like some people, like that's the thing with like the Coen Brothers stuff. Either people really love it or they really just don't like it at all. There's like no in between. Yeah. I've never met a person that's like type thing. It's either like I just don't like it, or it's like it's really amazing. So
yeah. No, I had that same thing last night when I watched Moonrise Kingdom, the Wes Anderson film, for the first time. Right.
Yep.
I watched it with my family. Everyone else hated it. They're like, "This is awful. This is a stupid movie." And I'm like, "Guys, look how cool it looks. I love it. I love the style.
Oh my god, it's amazing."
And yeah, everyone else was like, "I hate it."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's similar to that, and that brings me to my number 8. Segueing in, it's Wes Anderson. It's from 2014. It's the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes. Very good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
So good. Actually, it's still not my favorite film of his. My favorite film of his is Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I can say that because it's not on my list either. So I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah.
That's well done. Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorite animated movies. It's so well done.
Yeah.
Like, that's addictive. And then this, apart from Fantastic Mr. Fox, was my first live action Wes Anderson experience. And watching this movie, after seeing anything else except Fantastic, it was like eye-opening, man. I mean, I based my entire assessment film on this guy's work.
Yeah, you did. You essentially did. I've seen it.
You have seen it. And yeah, because I love it so much. Something so visually appealing about the way the guy makes movies. It hooks me in, and I'm addicted.
Oh yeah,
I can't escape it, man. The more I see it, the more I'm like, I love it. I don't know why, but I do. It's so good.
I feel like with your films and like the way you make things and everything like that, I've started to pick up it now with like a lot of the shorts we filmed is very like artsy style, very much like their own unique way of positioning the camera and not following kind of like what we get taught what to do and stuff like that. You kind of want to have like a very artistical shot for your scenes. I can see that a lot in your work on the little shorts that we've made for TAFE and everything like that. Obviously, because you're inspired by the Coen brothers and obviously Wes Anderson as well. So
they're my top 2 favorite filmmakers of all time. Those two, and you can see because everything I make is kind of inspired by those guys.
Yep.
Do whatever the hell I want. I love it. Oh, and then all right. Should I go to my number 7 now?
Yeah, number 7.
All right, this is going to bring it back. This is my favorite Coen Brothers one at number 7 from 1998. It's called The Big Lebowski. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yay! The dude. No, it's the dude.
Dude.
Mr. Lebowski.
The
dude, man.
Yes. Guy pissed on my rug.
That is a phenomenal film.
Want to go bowling?
Want to go bowling?
Oh, I love it.
Because apparently what they're trying to make or potentially make a second one.
Ooh, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah, because
it's a perfect movie.
It is. But that's the thing. Like, obviously, Jeff Bridges in it, who's a phenomenal actor. Absolutely phenomenal.
So good.
And I didn't obviously like see The Big Lebowski until probably 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
Because that's the thing. Like, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a bit quirky, just about this guy called the dude, and I was gonna think it was like a comedy thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Jeff Bridges, to me, like all the other stuff I've seen in, was like super serious and everything like that. Like no kidding around films up to that point, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, this is amazing. Yeah. This is perfect. Well, I love this.
Yeah, well, he is the only serious actor in it. He's the only serious person in this movie.
Yes.
And everyone else around him is just wacky and whimsical and just so extravagant in the weirdest of ways. I mean, the nihilists, that must be exhausting. Like,
yes.
Everything in this movie, so good. I've rewatched this movie maybe half a dozen times since I first saw it.
Nice. It's definitely one of those films where you can just like keep watching it, and it's still like you're gonna find something you're gonna pick up on like you didn't watch it before. Like, I've probably watched it 4 times by now, and it's just like each time I've watched it, I've always like seen something new or a joke that they've said or set up, and I was like, yep, that makes sense. Like, I get it now.
Such a good movie. Yeah, I can rewatch this movie as many times as I want and never get sick of it. And speaking of movies I can rewatch a billion times without getting sick of, my number 6 is from 1979. This is the oldest film on my list. Ooh. And it's called Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
Hey! Yeah.
Oh, man. It's their best movie. It's one of the greatest comedies ever made. It's so well done.
It is so well done. That is still the Monty Python stuff. I would love to see like a modern day version of that type of like comedy idea. What they did, obviously, like you can't replicate it now and everything like that. But all comedy films now and stuff like that, they're not made with the type of comedy that they did for like even the Holy Grail and what was the other one they did?
Meaning of Life.
Meaning of Life. Even Meaning of Life, I actually very much enjoy as well. Like, they had a lot of good subtle jokes. So anything from Monty Python, like just that area of comedy that they were able to replicate, what they're able to do, and as well, this is like such small budgets for all their films.
I know.
Besides the Meaning of Life,
by members of the Beatles. It's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, and this one is just their best work. It's just so funny and it holds up really well.
It sure does.
Oh, I love this movie, man. I have all of the Monty Pythons on DVD.
So obviously the people that don't know about Life of Brian, we can probably just give a bit of a spoiler for it. It's basically like their own retelling of Jesus Christ, which is the oldest story in history, I suppose.
And
yes,
it's the guy that was born next door. Brian. They named him Brian.
But
that boy grew up to be a man called Brian.
And just like the whole like what's a spaceship scene and everything like that is like it's so wacky to go back and like watch those films. Especially like how films are made now and everything like, but they're still so good just because of the jokes and how they were setting up things for it. I'm just like comedy like reached a peak, and that was Monty Python.
Oh, it's such a good movie, man. All right. Wow. Ooh, should I go to my number 5?
Number 5.
This one probably won't surprise you, as it was the shirt that I wore on the first day we met.
Whoa, get meta. No, I didn't think that would be in your top 10 at all. You know, I thought that would be in your like down near 100 somewhere. I'm joking.
Oh no, it's my favorite Tarantino movie. it holds up so well, and again, it's just so different to everything else. You've had movies that have tried to emulate it, but nothing has been as good as this. Nothing's hit this mark like this film did. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. So how old were you when you first watched Pulp Fiction? Was it a recent thing? Was it like when you were like 8 and just be like, oh, it's the Holy Grail, man?
I probably watched it when I was like 12, 13, maybe 14. Yep. You know, in high school sort of area. Yeah. And then, I think my dad was just like, yo, check out this movie. See if you like it. Because I think I watched Reservoir Dogs first. That was like the introduction. It was like, hey, check this out. Yeah, you will like this. And I loved Reservoir Dogs. I was like, this is awesome. I've got to know what happens next in this. Like, what did he do next? And it's like, oh, here's Pulp Fiction. This will spin you out even more. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm wearing the T-shirt. It's like,
next thing you know, I'm actually John Travolta. Oh my God, it's like Face Off.
I hope not. That's a terrible movie.
It is a terrible movie. No, but yeah, Pulp Fiction definitely does hold up quite a lot still. And I actually do want to go back and watch it because it's the cast as well for it. Like that's what like kicked off Samuel Jackson's career, really. Yeah. And like John Travolta and Bruce Willis as well. That's right. Bruce Willis was in it. And was it Uma Thurman? That was her first one.
Uma Thurman?
Yeah. Yep. So, phenomenal film. Good soundtrack as well.
Oh, great. All of the Tarantino movies have great soundtracks. I love it. Yeah. But no, Pulp Fiction just outdoes everything else.
It does.
Outdoes everything else.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Number 4. This is a movie from 2010.
Ooh.
This is by one of my other favorite filmmakers of all time, Mr. Taika Waititi.
Oh, Taika Waititi.
I heard he did a Marvel movie or something.
Yeah, he's done something.
His masterpiece was 2010's Boy.
You really love Boy. Like you're always talking about Boy.
Because it's so good. It's the only one of his movies that have nailed the story and heartfelt element above everything else. Like, even something like Jojo Rabbit, I'm like, story still kind of wacky.
Yeah.
Whereas this one feels real. This one works and fits and it draws you in and makes you care about these characters like no other film from this sort of from this sort of era and director does. I mean, it blends comedy and drama in a way that I have never really seen in a movie before. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because you're always like referring to it when we're like writing stuff or anything like that, or just talking about Taika Waititi. You're just like, boy, I love Boy. Boy's the best thing ever made.
I strongly believe it's one of the best written movies.
Oh yeah, it is phenomenally written. Like how well that actually was written and everything like that for it. Like I've only watched it once. Might have to go back and watch it again because I probably did watch it back in 2010. So that's over 13 years ago.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah. I can remember bits and pieces of it. So
yeah, it's really quotable. I mean, me and James, who was on our Last of Us podcast, we quote it back and forth to each other every now and then. He loves that movie. We put on our fake Kiwi accents and talk to each other.
Yep.
It's one of those movies that just stick with you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just me, but it feels like this movie just hooks onto you and doesn't leave, and it's really annoying because I love it so much.
Well, that's good. That's the whole point of this list. That was what we're doing today. You know, like all these films that I wanted to talk about today was something that was meant to be like it's like what you would suggest to people to go and watch, like type thing. And that's the thing, like you love that film so much, so like you want to talk about it, and that's the thing. Like I will probably go and rewatch it again now because that's the thing. Like it has been 13 years since I've watched it. Let's go. So no, it's good to hear. It's good to hear like you do enjoy that film so much because that's the thing. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that film. I know of the film, but a lot of people actually don't know about that film.
Yeah, it surprises me because everyone knows Taika Waititi. I mean, he did 2 Marvel movies. He did Jojo Rabbit, which won him the Oscar, I think.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So it's people know those, but people don't know any of this other stuff. And this is 10 times better than those movies. It's like, this one outshines everything. It's like, why is no one talking about it? Let's spread the word, man.
Spread the word of Boy. Go and watch Boy. Even though I'll be like Kratos and be like, boy. Go and watch Boy. Well, yeah, we'll just get the voice actor that did Kratos, we'll say Boy.
Oh, all right. Well, now we're at my top 3.
Top 3.
I tried to pick movies that we haven't really talked about on here, or movies that just really stick with me, like no other. And number 3 is no exception. This is from 1988, and it's the only animated film on my list.
Ooh.
This is Akira.
Akira.
Get out of my head.
Get out of my head. Yeah, that is a phenomenal film. Man. And that's the thing. It's kind of funny that you obviously mentioned Taika Waititi before, because he still wants to make a live action version of this film, which I'm still a bit like.
I don't want him to do that. As much as I love him, I don't want him to.
Yeah.
This is a perfect movie. You can't tarnish that.
Yeah.
This is my favorite anime movie.
Ooh,
like this,
okay.
I'd say anime thing.
Anime,
but Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, Cowboy Bebop's like all the way up there for me. Like Bebop's like, if we're talking about like just anything media wise, man, it's like all the way to the moon and back.
If we did a TV show ranking, Cowboy Bebop would be number 1 for me.
Oh yes, so. Number 1 for me definitely as well.
Oh wow. Look at us agreeing on things. This
well,
is what
happens. This is what you don't see behind the scenes of the podcast, but Clayton and I actually have webcams when we talk to one another. And behind my webcam is an entire wall dedicated, and you can maybe see it through the arcade machine, Clayton, is actually a wall dedicated to Cowboy Bebop. It's an entire wall, like with merchandise, everything.
I've got a Spike Spiegel pop vinyl behind me. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, that's my whole wall. It's sitting atop of my stack of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
And so much so that the most expensive book I have ever purchased is an art book from Japan that is a Cowboy Bebop art book and is all in Japanese too.
You can't even read it.
And you can't even read it. But at least it's got pictures, so that's nice.
Barry. You just look at the pictures.
I look at the pictures.
Yeah. So no, Akira. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. From 1998. Nothing holds up to this movie. Again, I watched it like recently when I got into anime. When I started getting into that, I watched Akira, and then I watched Cowboy Bebop, and I started getting into like My Hero Academia and a bunch of other stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, and all that. But Akira has stuck with me like nothing else, and I think it's also because I still kind of don't understand what happens. Like I get it.
You get it, but you kind of don't get it.
But I don't know. I don't know if I get it.
Oh,
it's like, okay, so this happens because of this, and this is this. But is it? Wait.
Yep. Well, like, this is the thing. I've watched that film probably a good like over 20 times over the past 20 years. Yeah. And even I'm still like, what's going on? Like, what was this meant to be all about?
I know. And it's such a cool world. I love the motorcycle. The opening segment with the motorcycle chase and all the bar and city stuff is probably one of my favorite segments in media history.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in anything.
Just that entire world and that animation style is just, it's so good. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. I often go back and just watch the first 10 minutes of Akira because it's just so good. I don't have time to watch the movie. I'll just watch the first 10 minutes and be like, I love this.
Nice.
Oh,
all right. Good. So what's number 2, man?
Oh, number 2. This is from 2011. I don't know if you knew this, but I starred in this movie. I was the main actor in this movie. It's called Drive.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
No. Like I mean, it's definitely you. Definitely you. I see the resemblance already.
This is my one of my first acting roles. Yeah, I was the guy in the white jacket with the toothpick. No, it's Ryan Gosling stars in this movie.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I did not know what I was getting into when I watched this movie.
Oh yes. Well,
I
here's the
got
thing.
the
Funny
DVD
enough,
at a
before you start going, this is the one
okay.
film that you've talked about that is also on my list.
What? Really?
But
This
not
is
as
the
high
only
up.
one.
Not as high up though.
Okay.
Like it's still a phenomenal film. I remember going to see this at cinemas and everything like that. But obviously, yeah, you talk about it. It's your film.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, it's on your list too. But like, I'm honestly surprised that I kind of tried to not pick anything you'd pick, and I'm surprised you picked this one. If I'm honest.
Yep.
Like, but yeah, no, I get it. I picked up this movie for $2 at a garage sale on DVD.
$2 for Drive? That's sad.
A brand new DVD. It was never used or opened.
Oh, I suppose that's good. Like, you forgot to watch it. You knew nothing about it. No one knows nothing about this film. No one knows nothing about this film still. Like, it's so strange.
Yeah.
Like, it's got Ryan Gosling in it.
It looks cool. Yeah. No, I grabbed it. I'm like, this looks cool. What's this? I have no idea. I've never heard anything about it. Didn't look up anything. Knew nothing. Watched it with my family. And we were like, that was so different.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. The start of the movie, you're like this getaway chase. And you're like, okay, this is going to be like one of those generic action movies. And then it starts playing Kavinsky's Night Call with the weird, like, futuristic text in the city. And it just changes. And that, as soon as that song started playing, I'm like, I'm in for something special. Like, well, this is going to be good.
Thing. Yeah, let's just talk about this film for a second.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's on both my lists. So I'll say what number it is on my list now. So it was number 8 on my list. Like everything I have on my list is like 11 out of 10 on my list. Like I recommend these to anyone. And they're always interchanging what level they actually are. So normally I like rate all these ones pretty high up. But this is the thing, right? This came back in 2011. So everyone knew who Ryan Gosling was by then because of Notebook and everything like that. But here's the other thing as well. This has Bryan Cranston in it, Oscar Isaac, Christina Hendricks, Albert Brooks, Ron Perlman. Yeah. This has such a big cast of film in it. And still today, how many people I like suggest this film or talk about this film and they're like, I've never heard of it before. And I'm just like, what? And that's the thing. It was done on a budget of $15 million. You can obviously tell it's a very low budget. But it is phenomenal. Because actually, funnily enough, I only watched this 2 days ago.
Really?
I watched it on Friday.
I might have to watch it tonight because I love this movie.
It is the one film that I will go back and watch like every few months.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, well, most of these films that I have on my list today, like I will go back and watch regularly, like as a TV series, like as an episode type thing, just because I love them so much. But yeah, Drive is so great. Even one of the first ever like short. Do you ever remember back on YouTube? There was time where like people would make machinima animations, like using a video game and stuff like that. Yep. So back when GTA 5 first came out, so over a decade now, obviously when they added in like the director mode or something to it, where you could start like recording things and everything. The first ever short that I actually did was kind of like a Drive, was inspired by Drive.
Wow.
Thing I did because I remember I actually watched this film at the cinemas with my father, and I was just like, I was blown away by it. Like this was one of those films where it was just like, I want to get into filmmaking to make something like this, and just like watching it the other day now, because I haven't watched it probably since the end of last year, and since we've learned so much stuff in this past year because of our course and stuff like that, I've like picked up more on the subtle details to it and what they've actually done and story writing, and I've actually read the script for it as well, and it's just like. This is so well done. Like every single beat of it counts. Every single camera shot just is amazing for it. How they represent it, what kind of like camera angles they're using. Like they go from like using a 35 mil to like a 65 mil, and it's mind blowing.
It's amazing how well put together it is. But I couldn't name the director. Who's the director of Drive? Can you? Name
the director of Drive is Nicholas Winding Refn.
I don't see. What else have they done?
He has not done too much, or not much I've heard of anyway. So he's done The Neon Demon, Pusher, Only God Forgives, Copenhagen Cowboy, Drive, Pusher 2, Too Old to Die Young is his most recent film.
Never heard of any of those except Drive.
Yep.
Which is crazy because this is an amazing put together masterpiece, I call it, you know?
It is. This is one of those films that is just a masterpiece.
Really, really funny is my car that my character has in GTA Online is modeled after his car in Drive.
Fuck
which
yeah.
is really funny that you mentioned that because I was like, hang on a minute, I did the exact same thing, but it's just my car.
Yep.
Like, hell yeah. Oh, so good. No, but oh boy, number one.
Number one. This would have been a hard pick.
No.
No.
No, it's not. It's weird because this film has been my number one for ages since I watched it.
Okay.
No film has stuck with me at a personal level as much as this film. It's from 2016. Again, one that I picked up on DVD without knowing anything about
it. Yep.
No, sorry, it wasn't on DVD.
No?
I watched it on a streaming app because it was really high rated. It had like an 8.6 IMDb or something, or an 8.7.
Okay.
Something. It was really high. It was in the top 50 films. And I'm like, I've never heard of this. What is this? Who are these unknown people in this movie? And I watched it, and I'm like, my God. It's probably one of the films that made me want to make movies.
Yep.
Oh man, it's so crazy. It's called Sing Street from 2016.
Hey,
I've mentioned it many times.
You have mentioned this many a times, and I still need to get around to actually watching it.
It's so good. It's basically just this kid in the 80s forms a band to impress a girl. That's kind of the story.
Yep.
That's kind of the basic story. But as it goes along, it just gets so, I don't know, so real. It just like, it fit into this world. And it was amazing because I was also forming a band with my friends at the exact same time that I watched this movie and was kind of going through the events of the film. And it's also, I don't want to spoil it, but the film doesn't have a happy ending.
Oh, it has, much like all my films.
No, it has like a, you don't know what's going to happen next ending, but it's implied to be bad.
Okay. Yeah.
It's one of the only films that have made me cry. It's the only film that has, because of the ending. Yep. And it doesn't even show you what happens. I'm like, it's mental.
Oh, yeah. No, I've definitely been wanting to watch this film because it's on Stan for people that want to go and watch this and that. Because ever since, you talked about it, I think it was like maybe a couple weeks in between you and us first meeting. You were like, you should go and watch this film. Or you start talking about it. And I was like, what's film that? You're like, Sing Street. I was like, cool. I'll get around to watching it. And now I finally got Stan as of recently because I didn't have that before. Until a few weeks ago. I was like, I'll put it to the list. I actually might go and watch it tonight.
No one's heard of it.
Yeah.
You should do that because, no one's heard of it. No one's seen it. It won heaps of awards because it's an Irish film.
Yep.
Not many people have seen it. Not many Irish films get out there unless you're like in Bruges or something. It's like...
Yeah. No, very nice. And that's the thing. Obviously, you're going through like building your band at the same time as well. So you do have that emotional attachment to it. And I feel like that's like almost like a good thing when like you do have like your favorite films, like you do have something you can kind of latch onto around that same time and everything for it. Not too much of my number one, but you know, like it's
I'd hope I know what yours are going to be.
Yep. A lot of people know what mine going to be. Obviously people are not on the podcast though. But no, definitely great film that I do want to watch. And it's good to hear that you have that emotional attachment and that you did get inspired by it to make films and everything like that. And hopefully one day you can make something more phenomenal than that. You know, I suppose that's the grand plan for us doing this course and trying to make films and short films and just as much stuff as we can is to make something that's so impactful to someone like these films have been for you and I, like Drive and everything like that. To do all of that. So that's kind of what we want to do. So I suppose we should get to my list then. So
I suppose we should.
This might be a bit long of a podcast, but we'll see how things go.
We'll see how we go. Doesn't matter.
My list is very hard to do. I could go on for many, many more. But these films,
we could have lists of hundreds.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's way too many good films out there. Some of mine are very iconic. Some of them are not. Some of them I just enjoy because I just enjoy. and obviously wanted me to become a filmmaker and everything like that. So we'll start with my number 10. Now, this is probably the most classic film of all time that has inspired many, many filmmakers since its originated. Ratatouille? Yes, Ratatouille. No. So a small film, you might have heard of it, called The Star Wars.
The Star Wars?
The Star Wars. So Star Wars A New Hope, 1977. Yeah, I remember being 4 years old, watching this on VHS, and it was at my grandparents' place because they had a copy of it, and that was then and there where I fell in love with movies. Watching this film. This is what made me fall in love with watching films all my life.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat.
Yeah. This was like such a surreal experience, and it's one of the earliest memories I have type thing of being like holy shit, like there's this kid almost, and he's got a laser sword, and he goes up against this evil guy, and there's another old man, and it's just like, it's phenomenal. And that's the thing, it still holds up. There's a reason why Star Wars is like such a big franchise as it is today, is because of this one film. Like you go and ask how many like filmmakers now that like grew up as kids watching and went to go and see Star Wars, and like they like, this is the reason why I'm making films, is because of this film.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
It's one of the greatest films ever made.
It is. It is. So I had to put it on my top 10 list.
That's fair. I was debating doing that. So I'm glad you did.
So number 9 is a film that came out in 2016. It is based upon a comic book character that I am very fond of, and I have a lot of stuff relating to this comic book character. So in 2016, a small film of a guy in a red and black suit came out called Deadpool, where everyone was just like, what the fuck is this shit?
So good.
I remember the promoting and everything for this film. So obviously, Clayton, you know, and a lot of people in my life know that I am very fond of the Deadpool character. I have been fond
I didn't know.
of Deadpool since I was a wee lad, a very wee lad, because when I was like really small, I loved Spider-Man. Obviously grew up on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, had a Spider-Man suit even back then, and had Spider-Man comics.
Oh, that's name.
And then I think I was around 6, 7, something like that. Someone gifted me a bunch of like comic books, and obviously it was meant to be Spider-Man, but obviously they picked one of them was wrong, and one of them was a Deadpool comic because they thought it looked the same. And so this is when the deep cycle of interest into this character went. So yeah, like growing up since then and everything like that, reading Deadpool comics, I'm trying to get all of the Deadpool comics ever made. That is my grand collection of things. I think I'm like 70% now at the moment. I have so many Deadpool related merchandise stuff. I have a life-size costume of Deadpool in my house on a mannequin.
Kind of scary.
It is kind of scary. I've even got like the Hot Toys, all the Hot Toys, Deadpool stuff, so many pops, so many things, so many figures, just everything Deadpool. Anything like I see of Deadpool. I even ordered some Deadpool shoes last night as well from DC. So like anything Deadpool, I will get. It is the one thing I'm just like, I'm getting that. It's Deadpool. I'm getting. Like it's an obsession. Even though like he's not my favorite comic book character or anything like that, there's just something about it. Like the wackiness
who is your favorite then?
Probably Batman. Just like the stories and everything like that, yeah. Still Batman.
That's fair.
Yeah. But just like the wackiness to Deadpool though, like always related to me. That probably explains why I am so wacky, is because like reading Deadpool comics and stuff like that. And then when they announced, well, for years, I know Ryan Reynolds wanted to do a Deadpool movie for years, like a good decade. And then we had X-Men Origins come out with Ryan Reynolds in it. And it was just horrible. I was like I'm pretty sure I puked after seeing that.
I love laughing at that movie.
Yeah. And then when they finally announced that they were going to make an actual dedicated Deadpool film, I'm pretty sure I cried that day because I was just so excited to being like, they're actually going to do it. Like I'm surprised because he's such like a B-list character as well in the comics. Like the comics aren't great. I'm telling you this right now. I have most of the collection. The comic stories are not good. But
I've only read a couple Deadpool comics, and they suck.
They do suck. I mean, there is like a few good ones. We'll tell you later on one day. Yeah. But yeah, for me, he's just like that one comic book character where he's just been so influential to me. And I don't know why, just because of his wackiness, and I'm kind of wacky. So, it just molds.
Yeah. I mean, when the movie was coming out, the only introduction I had to the character was from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 on the PlayStation 3. Because he's in that.
Have you ever played the Deadpool game, video game?
I have the Deadpool game on my shelf as well.
I have played that so many times. I think it's my most played game besides Halo. So
oh wow. Yep. No, but I a video game introduced me to this quacky character, and I was like, who the hell is this? He's funny. What's he doing? And I'd never read a Deadpool comic. Yep. And when the movie came out, I was like, oh shit. This guy's awesome.
Yeah. Like, yep. This is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. So well done.
And that's why I'm so looking forward to Deadpool 3, man, with Hugh Jackman coming back. I'm so excited. Might have to wear the Deadpool suit for that one.
I'll dress up as Spider-Man. I'll go with you.
Yeah. So obviously my number 8, we already discussed about it, was Drive 2011.
Yeah.
So, phenomenal film. Now, here comes to the top 7. Now, this list is, from 7 to 4, it's always kind of interchanging between what level they are. And I know we've talked about my number 7 before on the podcast, and I've definitely spoken about it to you, because this has probably been no my most influential on somewhat trying to get into filmmaking. Well, actually my first ever production, going back when I did machinima stuff, when I actually did try to make with a company which are now gone under on YouTube, an actual full series, episodic series based upon the idea of this film. So the film they're talking about is The Town, 2010, directed by Ben Affleck. Okay. And it's basically him in Boston being a bank robber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
So yeah, a proficient group of thieves rob bank and hold Claire, who's basically this lady. She works at the bank when they rob it. And so like Ben Affleck, Jeremy Renner are in it, and they go rob the bank. And then basically they kidnap her as like ransom type thing. So they can get away. And then they're like, oh, should we kill her? And Ben Affleck's character is like, no, we'll just let her be free. But then what he ends up doing, and this is like kind of the weirdest thing to it, he ends up like liking her and then goes on dates with her and stuff like that. And then they end up being together and stuff like that, which is a bit strange in that regard.
Syndrome, like
yeah, maybe a little bit. But yeah, it's another film directed by Ben Affleck and actually written by Ben Affleck as well, and it's based in Boston, his hometown. And the thing is as well, for this film, the research that he did, he actually went to bank robbers and stuff like that and talked to them about
a bank for the role.
Almost, but actually wanted to actually like know what they actually would do in real life scenarios, what they actually did. And he did so much research on it, and like you have to get around to watching it. And like I know a lot of people find it's a bit like type movie type thing, but to me there's something about it still that is so inspirational. And even as well, it's actually the reason of my past career choices, why I got into that, was because of this film, which we don't talk about. But it also has John Hamm in it as well, which I love. John Hamm. John Hamm's amazing. So that's probably another reason why I love the film as well. And yeah, this is the story for it. I do enjoy the acting performances is on point, and it's just one of those films where it was like so like how Ben Affleck directed it and created it, and it's so like kind of a simple film to follow as well, but it's just so perfectly done in my opinion. Like it's just it's so good just to go back and watch.
Yeah, no, sounds cool. I'll put it on my list. I'll have to check it out.
What's next up? Number 6. I only watched this probably a few years ago, but has become one of my favorite films of all time. All the way back in 2007, there was a small film, a very small film, if I'm being honest, done by Paul Thomas Anderson, which I absolutely love his films. This film is called There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano. And it's basically like about the oil days of America and everything like that. It is, if you want to watch a film where it's like, if you want to watch very good acting, like just solely on acting, watch this film. The performances by Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. Well, that's the thing. Daniel Day-Lewis won an Oscar for this film. That's how well. Yeah, this was the one film that he got an Oscar for. And Paul, he even said in his speech that without Paul Dano being his supporting actor, he wouldn't have gotten the Oscar. Because how well this film is and everything like that, and how well it's directed, and just the sheer performance, because very long take scenes as well, and especially towards the end. And that's the thing, the character we follow, Daniel Day-Lewis, is an absolute arsehole of a character. He is. He is not good. And even at the end of it, he's even more of an arsehole than at the beginning of the film. Like, it's just a descent into madness and how much, like, wealth and money, like, changes a person. That's really what the movie's all about.
It is on my list.
Yeah, definitely a must watch, in my opinion, just for the sheer performances of Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. And just like the ending to it, it's one of those films where like I think about the ending a lot. Because it's just like the performance of it, and it's really like one long take as well. It's almost like watching something in a theater, but it's a movie. And it's just like, wow, like absolute wow.
So cool. Yeah, I'll watch that, and you can watch Sing Street. We'll trade.
Yeah. So number 5 for me is going back to the 1990s, back when I was a wee lad. I'm not that old, by the way, everyone, but we just make a joke that I'm really, really, really old. I'm actually a vampire with Alzheimer's. That's how it works. So a small film done by a small director called Martin Scorsese. A little film called Goodfellas.
I was close.
You were close, very close. I'm pretty sure Time Cop does get referenced in this film. Joking. But yes, this is my only Martin Scorsese film that's made onto this. I love Scorsese films. Like, they're the types of films I will go back and just love every single one of them. But this one in particular, is something about it, man. It's like, all my life, I always wanted to be a gangster. Like, just those starting lines to the film is just like, how do you top that?
Can't. And he hasn't. He hasn't topped it yet.
He has not. I'm very.
He never will.
He never will. But I'm interested to see his new one at the end of the year. I forget the name for it now, but the really long one.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon. That's right.
I remember.
But yes, Goodfellas is just one of those films where it just hooked me in straight away. And I was 8 when I watched this, by the way, or 8 or 9.
Wow.
I remember watching like Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver was the first ever Scorsese film that I watched, and I watched it at a very young age. And even then, I was just like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." What else does he do?
Yeah, you should. And then after that.
oh no, definitely not. And then straight after that, it was just like Goodfellas, and then it was just like, I love gangster films, and there's the reason why like I like doing noir and gangster films and everything like that is because of this film. So that's kind of what's
best. It's the best gangster movie.
It is the best gangster film.
It's so well done. The performances in it alone from people like Joe Pesci and that, it's just untouchable.
Oh yeah, so and good. Like Robert De Niro is definitely my top 5 actors of all time as well. So like seeing him in this and his role in it, and obviously Ray Liotta is the main character for it, and seeing him, this was his best performance, like Ray Liotta's best performance by far.
Yeah,
It's just like so good. And that's the thing as well. It's so funny. Like still, you see Joe Pesci in this film in the exact same year he did Home Alone.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
So he went from clamping a guy's head in a vice in this film to doing Home Alone.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he also clamped the guy's head in Home Alone.
Probably.
No. Macaulay Culkin clamped his head into a door frame multiple times. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like yin and yang.
But it was just like, it's still, I just like get that. Like you see there's such a dark performance by Joe Pesci in this film. And then it's like the same year he did Home Alone. And I was like, what? What's going on?
You laughing at me? Well, you think I'm funny or something? You think I'm a clown?
I'm a clown. All right. So on to my number 4. Which I think you already guessed earlier. It's a film that came out in 2019. I've talked about it many a times. I did a whole video about it in class already. It is the great Joker film done by Todd Phillips. There is just something about this film. Maybe because it is the Joker character, which I do enjoy comic book wise and everything like that. And just the way it was directed, performed. I prefer Joaquin Phoenix's Joker more than Heath Ledger. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of people don't really say that. And that's the thing, because I actually do have I love Heath Ledger's performance of Joker. Well, I actually have his mask in my cupboard and everything like that. But yeah, there's still something about this film that I go back and watch regularly. Mainly because I think I got really stuck into the theory, what my video thing that I based it upon, that it actually wasn't real and everything like that. And it looks like my theory was right. Going off behind the scenes stuff for the upcoming Joker 2, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. I know, but the behind the scenes stuff that they're doing for Joker 2, or what got leaked anyway, came out around the same time Jason and I did my theory video on it.
That's right.
And it was just like, oh shit. He's like, Ben, I think you were right.
You linked it together. It was great. I saw Joker in cinema. This was my first MA movie that I saw in cinema. I left school early that day. I drove
Is it down. MA? I thought it was R.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is MA.
No, it was MA. MA. Because I saw it in cinema. But I will say, I think it's a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
I hate to burst your bubble, Barry. I liked it. Right. It's a 7 out of 10. You know, it was like, it didn't do anything special. I'd liked if it expanded on the whole theory idea that you were giving up, or something like that. The soundtrack was cool.
Soundtrack was very cool.
But it wasn't Joker for me. It wasn't the character that I knew, and I think that's what put me off of it a little bit. Maybe if it was, because you could have completely detached it from the DC universe and made it its own thing, and it still would have worked.
Yeah,
but
Well, that's the thing. Anytime, I go into watching like a rebooted or like superhero film, like someone starring as like the same character as like someone else type thing, I always go into it like reading a new issue of a comic book, almost like this is its own world. Yep. This is its own thing. This is what they're trying to do for it. And I think the reason why I love this film so much is because it's such an homage to Martin Scorsese films. Like it literally is like exactly like Taxi Driver. And I'm trying to think of the other film with Robert De Niro in it that they also do reference it.
Hundreds.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Robert De Niro is in this one as well. So, and that's the thing. Originally, Todd Phillips wanted to get Martin Scorsese to direct this film. He didn't want to direct it himself. He wanted to get Martin Scorsese to direct this film.
It would have been 4 hours long.
It would have been. But yeah, it's still just one of those films. And I know like a lot of people find it either just, I've heard a lot of people say it's overrated. It's just meh type thing, or very, very sad. There is something about this film to me where in the chaos of it all and just the cinematic look, and maybe it is to do more with like, I really got stuck on the theory of mine that all of it wasn't real besides the end part. I think that's maybe why I love it so much as well. Is because of that. Like I always had that in the back of my mind, thinking like, oh, there's more of a mystery to it. And that just like when I did that theory video with Jason and everything like that, the more I read into it and more found other things and everything like that, I was just like, I love this film even more now. Like that like pushed it to a whole new level for me. Like even just from the color temperatures and everything, what they used per scene, how they related to it. And I was like I was mind blowing. It was like a new experience going into it.
No, it's a really well done movie. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But what does that bring? Is it your number 3 next?
Yeah. So my final 3 are always kind of interchanging between one another. More prominently 2 and 3. Number one's pretty secure high up there. I'm not gonna lie, but number 2 and 3 are definitely changing between like who's 2 and who's 3, or who's 3 and who's 2. So at the moment, I'm feeling there's a small film done by Rian Johnson of all people.
The Last Jedi?
Yeah, The Last Jedi. It is a small film called Looper. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this before. A lot of people haven't.
Only from you.
Yes.
Only from you.
This, I would have to say, is probably the best time travel film ever done since Back to the Future.
Those are some fighting words, man.
Those are some fighting words. I remember going to watch this because it has Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it and Bruce Willis and Emily Blunt. And Paul Dano is in it as well. He's back in my films. He's in a lot of my films.
He's good.
Yeah, I remember going to watch this at cinemas because it had Mr. Joey Gordon-Levitt because I absolutely love him and want to see him in more stuff, but he kind of just does his own thing these days. And yeah, I didn't read much into it about what it was or anything like that. I just like, oh, it's got him in it. It seems interesting. Bruce Willis is in it too. Why not? I'll go and watch it. And yeah, I remember walking out of the cinema being like, oh, like it gets you in the feels, man, this film.
Oh, wow.
It's not a very happy ending in it. My next 3 films all don't have happy endings. Well, I suppose all the films that I'm talking about don't really have happy endings. A lot of my top of the list don't have happy endings. And yeah, it is basically like a sci-fi Western movie.
That's cool. I'm going to have to watch it eventually.
Yeah, the world that he's created in it, Rian Johnson and everything like that, is very like almost you could believe it's real. Like it's very much like the technology and everything like that, besides the whole time travel thing. But even how they do the time travel stuff into it. And I won't go into spoilers because it's kind of the main story to it all on how that's evolved.
Is it like
with
Time
like
Cop? I watched Time Cop last week. You can't blame me for bringing it up.
Well, that's the thing. I'll tell you the one story is basically Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a younger Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis comes back to his time.
Oh,
because this is what you'll see, and this is what I found strange when I went to go see this as well. Joseph Gordon-Levitt doesn't look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this film.
He looks like Bruce Willis?
He looks like Bruce Willis, well, a younger Bruce Willis, because they actually put prosthetics on him and everything like that to make him look like Bruce Willis. And just the sheer performance.
Like 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, the sheer performance of Gordon-Levitt in this, how he like moves and how he talks. He like must have just like followed Bruce Willis around for like a good 2 years beforehand, man.
Really?
Because all the actions, the way he sounds and everything like that is exactly like Bruce Willis. And I'm just like, what's going on? It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Well, it sounds like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but it's like he's like sounding or talking the expressions and doing the same expressions as what Bruce Willis does in like all the Die Hard films and stuff like that. And I was like, this is kind of freaky, man, but it works so well. And then that's obviously cool. When he meets Emily Blunt's character, who's a phenomenal actress, definitely my number one actress of all time is Emily Blunt.
Really? Okay.
And her character and what she's involved with all that, because yeah, there's a whole thing with her, and it's just like it is, and yeah, it's a phenomenal film. And that's the thing, the ending to it is so much just like it hits you hard because you don't expect it the way it does end in a way, because that's the thing with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Joe character, and I write Joe in a lot of the stuff I write because of this film is like he's such kind of like it's only me type thing, like very much like selfish. Everything's I only do things to benefit me type thing. That's his entire character, even from the beginning and everything like that. The reason why he does this job as a looper and stuff like that. And then the ending of it, when it was just like, that all his morals and everything like that just like totally changed. And I was like, wow. It was just wow.
Yeah, maybe I'll watch Looper tonight. Oy.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend watching Looper because like I said, I know you haven't seen it. You've definitely seen the next 2 that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, Looper is one of those films where I will go back and watch it and I still fall in love with it every single time. And that's why it kind of interchanges between number 2 and number 3 a lot. But at the moment anyway, because I've been talking about this film with James, who was on our Last of Us podcast at the moment, because he borrowed my black and white copy of version of this film. So my number 2 is a film that came out in 2007. Well, here's the funny thing. My number 1 and number 2 are both films that came out in 2017. 2017 was a great year for me. So number 2 for me is Logan.
Oh, okay. I was close.
Yeah. Obviously, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Boyd Holbrook, Patrick Stewart, everyone. This is
pretty much.
Oh my gosh. This has to be and will probably forever will be for a very long time, my favorite comic book film of all time.
Wow.
Really? There is no film, even the next one that I do talk about, this is the one film I go back and watch it and do cry every single time.
Oh.
Yeah. Because well, obviously I think enough people have watched Logan by now. It was a pretty popular film. It did very well done. Directed by the great James Mangold, who's my favorite director of all time.
I can see it.
And just the way, because I was like brought up watching Western films and everything like that as a kid and still love watching Western films. And this is so reminiscent to a Western film. And that's what a lot of people don't get. Like, it is very much a structure of a Western film. And
it is a Western.
I could talk about this film the entire podcast about what it actually represents for future superhero films as well and everything like that. But we won't do that because we're going to be here forever otherwise. But it is, the film that I go back and watch, and like I've been talking with James recently about it, about what it actually represents to the future of superhero films, and he watched the black and white version of it because I do have like the noir version, and it is amazing to watch in black and white because obviously for black and white films,
there was a black and white version.
You have to like have certain lighting and everything like that to look good, and it has that type of lighting, how James Mangold did it as well, and everything like that. And it's probably even more sad going back and watching in black and white, because it's always the scene, not when Xavier dies, not in the back of the ute, but when they actually go to bury him, and then Hugh Jackman just loses it every single time in that scene. Just a bit of tears come out, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's the one film every single time I go back and watch it, and I've watched this film 50 times by now, maybe even over.
Barry.
It is one of those films
doing
where
that to yourself, man.
Yep. Even just talking about it, man, I'm getting teary-eyed because I'm thinking of that scene. But just the performances, the performances in it are phenomenal. This is probably my favorite Hugh Jackman role ever. His performance ever. Boyd Holbrook is in it, who's another favorite actor of mine. Patrick Stewart was in it, man, and he looked so skinny and so frail for it. It was so it was just a lot of great actors in it. And that's the thing, it's a very small film as well. Like, not a lot of actors, not a lot of things going on. It's very like a small story you follow and everything like that. But that's the thing, it is very meant to be reminiscent of a Western film. It's inspired by a lot of Western films. James Mangold actually did do a Western film called 3:10 to Yuma, which I also suggest to people to watch. I'm surprised that didn't make it onto the list, but I put this on here instead. 3:10 to Yuma, starring Christian Bale and Russell Crowe are in that one. That's a very, very good actual Western film. But I could be here forever talking about Logan. Logan's the one film, just what it represents, because we still are in that time of superhero films and what this film represents for that, and watching like interviews with James Mangold about it. I actually, like, if I ever got the opportunity to meet James Mangold, this would be the one film I want to discuss with him about, being like, why did you structure it like this? Because that's the thing, it's meant to represent the eventual downfall of superhero films.
Okay. Yeah, right.
I'll talk about this in person with you one day when we get a chance, because this is going to be like a whole
spare 7 hours.
exactly. But that's the thing, because like you do have that era of where we had Western films and everything like that, but they all just died out. And that's going to happen with superhero films. They're all just going to die out, like the Westerns did.
Wild West comes to an end.
And I think that's the reason why I love this film so much, because it is very reminiscent of a Western film, which these days I find myself watching more and more old Western films, like going back and watching older films. And then I go back and watch this again and I fall in love with it even more again. And it's just amazing. And that's the thing. I just don't think there's going to be any superhero film anytime soon anywhere that's going to top this film for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer some other superhero ones to Logan, but Logan's up there. It's pretty good. And I was also debating putting some Westerns on my list because, I also grew up watching a bunch. So definitely some good ones there. But Barry, what's your number one?
My number one? Well, I think Clayton already knows what this will be. And you're probably very surprised that it's not 1917. Oh, it's definitely Jurassic World. But no, another film that came out in 2017. So 2017 was a pretty good year for me, not gonna lie. I think that was the year where I was just like, I want to make a change in my life. I want to start like looking at movies at a different angle and learning about what happens. It was around that time where I started going to YouTube and being like, well, how do they make films? How do they do all this? Like, what cameras do they use? I think that was around 2017, around that time when I started to get into that a bit more. But the number one film for me, and this is probably not going to change anytime soon, is Blade Runner 2049. Not the original, the sequel which a lot of people don't like. Well, here's the thing.
Really?
A lot of people love it, just that nobody's actually seen it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it before I saw the original.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing, because I grew up watching the original as a kid, and then I read the book that this was all based upon, and then in 2017 they released this one with Ryan Gosling, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Because of Drive, this is going to be phenomenal. You were on it. You were in it.
I was in it.
And then like I knew already back then that this film wasn't going to be for everyone. I knew that it was probably going to take a loss because the original film took a loss. Nobody went to go and see the original film either.
Yeah, it took a while for it to find its feet as like a cult
And that's
film.
the thing. And there's something about this film. I'm not sure what it is because I know a lot of people still prefer the original one more than this one.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm included.
But there's just something about the story and the atmosphere to this one I enjoy a lot more. Maybe because it is newer. Maybe it is like they could do a lot more stuff with the technology compared to the original.
Yeah, maybe.
Even though the original one has like its own style, unique style to it. And maybe because it just has you in it, Ryan Gosling, Maybe that's the reason why. But I feel like, just like another thing as well, it has a very small cast that you follow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it mainly just follows Ryan Gosling's character the entire way through. And it's certainly got Harrison Ford, Ana de Armas,
Dave Bautista,
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
So like very small cast you actually see through this 2.5 hour film. It is a long film.
It is a long movie.
And that's the thing, it's done. Cinematographer was the great Roger Deakins as well. Who's my favorite cinematographer of all time. So just every single shot of his is just phenomenal in this film. How it was built, how it was portrayed, and then the overall like story to it. Like we go through the story. Spoilers, everyone that hasn't seen 2049, and I don't think gonna watch it by now because no one's actually went to go and see it back when it came out. Basically, you follow Ryan Gosling's character who plays Officer K, and he thinks he's this chosen person, this chosen android to like save android kind, and then it turns out he's actually not. He's just some average Joe, essentially, and that's like so meta throughout. Like Joy's character in it, played by Ana de Armas, and what she represents, and it's one of those films where I could talk about this film like an entire podcast episode, like just about what everything represents, and then how they like also integrated the original story into it as well, with Harrison Ford's character returning as 33 years later, as like this old grunty man, and how he was. And they still like, this is the good thing about, I love this film, because with the original Blade Runner film, it was always like, was Deckard's character, was he an android or replicant, or was he not?
Yeah.
And depending on who you ask for that film, it's always been like up in the air about it. And that's what I love about that film. Like, you're meant to take your own opinions about the original Blade Runner. Like, is he a replicant? Is he not? And then with this film, what they did with his character, they still did the same thing again. They don't actually give you a definite answer to it, to Harrison Ford's character. Like, was he a replicant or was he not? Like, they never answer that, which is still like phenomenal to me, how like they did all that and everything like that. And then you got Officer K, or Joe, Ryan Gosling's character, that goes through the story, finding all this information, and then realizing that he is just an average guy, or an average replicant. He doesn't mean really anything. And another interlinked, which is an amazing scene. And actually, that idea for that whole scene and what they talk about and everything like that was actually done by Ryan Gosling himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That whole interlink thing, it was like, it's actually like a psychologist's thing, because they wanted to like change, obviously, the void conf test from the original one. So apparently he was doing some research, and he was like, can we try this? And that's what they did for the scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember coming up with that idea.
No, you are smart. Wow. But I'm very like looking forward to seeing, because they are working on Blade Runner 2099, which is been halted at the moment.
Stalls, man.
Yeah, because of writing. But I like still want to see more of the Blade Runner world. Like, I love the world of Blade Runner. I would love to maybe, hopefully one day, do something in the world of Blade Runner, because it's like one of those things where I just love the small details in it and everything like that. and I hope just to see more of it. And I hope people go and watch 2049 and just watch it for the film that is. Like, it's a very artsy film. Not gonna lie, like, there's literally like just 10 minutes clips of them just going over landscapes and like sci-fi buildings, just music, and that's what I just love about it as well. It's one of those films where I
could watch a whole movie that's just him flying around the city.
Yep.
Yeah, Blade Runner. Nothing has nailed the cyberpunk sci-fi feel that more than Blade Runner.
Yep.
Like, it's so good. Yeah. But I think that's going to bring us an end to this episode.
I think that is. Yeah, we have. Well, we knew today's episode would be a bit long, so
yeah. That's what happens when you let Barry talk.
Yeah, this is what happens when I talk.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, yeah, we'll see you next week for another episode of We Talk Film, where we won't be talking us. We will be talking something completely different and regular. Yeah, we'll be back to your regular scheduled programming.
Scheduled programming next week. All right, guys, we're going back to normal next week.
All right, follow our socials, download the podcast, listen everywhere you can find it, and see you next week.
See you, everyone.
I'm loving this new song, Barry.
It's great.